Hi, I'm Michael Bateman, Group W Racing. I rode an Angus Expedition rowboat in 7048 this year. Had an absolute blast. It was this event last year with you, Harry, and you, Ralph, and Rob, and Nate Rooks, and the rest of the crowd that really completely hooked me. I'd been knew that it was going on from following the Race to Alaska ever since the beginning, and I ran across Nate Rooks in Lake Washington right after he launched his new boat, and when I was rowing a dory, and yeah, it all sounded good. I followed the race, and then when this came up after, I joined in and listened to all your stories, and that was the final hook. I was like, I'm in. I'm rowing something. I'm in. And then this Angus Expedition boat, I thought about building one, and I didn't have time. And this boat came up for sale, and I got a great deal on it. Ended up offering the guy more than he was asking to make sure that I could get it instead of the other two guys that were in line. Thanks for the other two guys. Sorry, you're flakes, but I got the boat. Anyway, I wasn't able to train like I really wanted to for the race, but I was able to get out and do some longer rows on the weekends. Did like my longest row was a 23. I did went up to from Edmonds up to Mukilteo and back, and did a fair amount of open water. And I've sailed in all of the water over the last 30 years in various times of my life, racing sailboats mostly. South Sound Series, racing out of Port Madison and Bainbridge Island, racing out of Port Townsend. And so the water was not unfamiliar to me at all. And I was pretty confident in navigation. I didn't have any worries with that. And so, but I didn't know how long I was going to be able to row. I know I can stay awake for like almost 2 days without issues from doing long sailboat races. I'm good for a day and a half easy, maybe more. But I didn't know what kind of shape I was in. But I knew that since a few weeks before I had an event in Suquamish that I needed to go to, Cultural Resources Summit with tribal culture stuff, and I thought, well, I'll just row there on one of the days. So I rode from Edmonds over to Suquamish and back, and thought, okay, well, if I can do that and think it's no big deal, I'm probably at least ready to do the race. But I still didn't know if I could make it the whole way in one shot. So I brought way too much stuff. I had a sleeping bag and a bivy sack and my Whisper Light stove and all kinds of stuff that I did not need at all. And I learned a lot during the race about what happens when you stop at all, ever. Because if I was ever next to another boat and I stopped to change batteries in the radio or get a snack or eat a banana, I look around, there's no boats in sight anymore. They're gone. They're out of sight. I'm like, okay, no more, next time everything's got to be right here. Someplace you don't have to stop and open a hatch and get it out, sort through it, try and remember which bag you put the batteries in, and then after you do that, okay, change them. Yeah, none of that. It's a completely different plan for next year, and I'm really excited about doing this again next year. I tried to go slow as I could within my own competitive spirit to be able to be sure that I was going to make it, which worked. It was a good plan. It worked. When I got to the end, I found that I had to really dig deep because I went under the bridge in Port Townsend at about the Port Townsend Canal about 3 o'clock, and got to the other side on Saturday. Got to the other side, and the wind was, I don't know what it actually was. It felt like it was blowing 15 gusts and 20. I don't really know, but from racing sailboats, it felt like that. The waves were pretty good size with white caps breaking off of them, and I was just barely making any progress, and I had to just dig deep and go for it for the last, 6 miles? Yeah. And I actually had gas in the tank when I finished, even after that. And so I was like, all right, you could have gone harder, longer, sooner. Next year, it'll be different. I have a lighter boat with a slick bottom instead of all scarred up from dragging it up and down the beach. And it was a great race. I had a blast. Going up Colvos is gorgeous, of course. Rowing at night is fantastic. It was fun occasionally coming up to people and having somebody in a double going like, dude, you're kind of cooking for a single. I'm like, I'm going as slow as I can. They're like, what? And I knew there was no way I could keep up with guys like Nate. No chance, or Stefan. I didn't think I could try and keep up, but so I didn't try. And I pretty much hit my target. I was hoping to do somewhere between 20 and 24 hours. I did it in 22 hours and 41 minutes. Right on target. And I know I can knock a bunch of that time off next year just by not bringing so much stuff, being more prepared, a little better shape, and having a nice slick bottom. But it was great fun. What a blast. I mean, I can totally see. I knew why you guys were stoked last year, but now I really get it. I mean, the stoke in the room was infectious, and I just had to be a part of it. And here I am. I was a part of it, and I'm in, man. This is
awesome.
I already told. I replied to the when they posted on Facebook the like here's the next finishers 40. I was number 45, 45, 46, 47, 48. And had our pictures. I replied back and said, you guys might as well just keep the tracker deposit because I'm in, I mean, I just don't bother to give it back. Just put it towards next year's entry. I'm in. And so, and I like the idea of continuing on and doing the first leg of, I have thought about that. That would be really fun. So,
first leg is brutal though.
I know, it looks like it. So it kind of, but from, it's not 40 miles across, it's 20 miles across from Dungeness Point to Victoria.
It's not to be underestimated.
But no, no, trust me. When I did the Oregon Offshore race, we came up from Astoria, up the coast and around. I was in a Baba 30, which is like a West Sail 32. It's a heavy boat, but not a real big boat. And it was blowing 35, gusting 45 when we came by Race Rocks. And there was, there was 2 people down below. And we had the door locked. You are not allowed up. And all I'm doing is I've got one hand on the boat, one hand on the cockpit, and I'm looking up at the Windex, and I'm telling Barrett, the driver, it's, bear off, no, come forward, bear off, no, okay, now, no, yeah, oh, that's good, hold that, oh, no, go, oh, no, right, port, starboard, port, starboard, and we're trying really hard to work off of Race Rocks because we could not tack. There was no way we were going to tack, and we missed the buoy by about 20 feet when we came through there. I looked over and saw the buoy, and while I was looking, a wave of green water came over the top of the boat, and just missed my head by about that far. And Barrett's like, dude, did you see that? I'm like, see what? Anyway, we managed to. So yeah, I'm very familiar with how big that water can
change.
Yeah, and it changes fast. I've been out there.
Yeah. It went from glass to 50 knots sustained in about 20 minutes to half an hour.
Yeah, in a Baba 30, that's an 8-hour run from Victoria to Port Townsend. I've done it quite a bit. So yeah, in 15 minutes it can change, but in 8 hours it can change a lot. But yeah, it's still, as you say, not to be underestimated. But what a beautiful run too, and it is really fun to come through that around the cruise ships. Don't ever believe a cruise ship is going to do or not do what you expect it to do. We came in. We'd already checked in with Seattle traffic. They said nobody's moving, no worries. We're like, we're racing, we can't stop. And as we're just approaching the entrance, Jill says, one of them's moving. I'm like, no way. And I'm looking at the sterns of the 2 that are right there, and there's nothing moving. She's like, no, look, the windows are moving. And there's a small one inside the other 2. And he's moving, he's backing up. He didn't honk his horn, he didn't call traffic, he did nothing. He's just going. And now now he's blocking the entrance. We can't go in. It's still blowing 30. We don't have good control. So yeah, I am not a fan of the cruise ship captains these days.
In 16, I was coming in 25, 30 knots of wind at about midnight, and I couldn't pick out the channel markers.
Once you get inside, they're confusing.
I couldn't see them.
Yeah, and they overlap.
But I knew I had to hit the stern of the cruise ship.
Yeah.
Because that's where it is. And after about 15, 20 minutes, something's not right. Is the way of the cruise ship? Well, that cruise ship I've been trying to make in my 12-foot boat has been backing up the whole time. And then the harbor master comes out yelling at me on the hailer to get out of the way of the cruise ship.
Yeah.
And it was.
Like, I don't have a lot of options here, dude. Yeah. And actually, in this case, the Victoria Traffic read in the riot act like you wouldn't believe when we called and it's like, traffic, what's going on with this cruise ship that's moving? And he's like, what cruise ship that's moving? There shouldn't be any cruise ships moving.
No way.
Yeah, right. No way. Yeah. So, but that was a blast. I'm totally in for next year. That was super fun.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Great job.